Welcome back. Today, we're stepping right into the heat to talk about saunas. You know, this ancient practice is seeing this huge modern comeback. But what's the real story behind just sweating it out? Let's get into it.
You see, to really get the sauna, you have to understand it's so much more than just a hot room. As writer Haley Folk puts it, in Finland, where the modern sauna was basically born over 2,000 years ago, it's a massive part of the culture. It's a space for family, for quiet, for well-being.
And hey, right off the bat, here's a little insider tip for you. That word, sauna, it's actually pronounced sauna. Yeah, it rhymes with wow, not saw. It is the only Finnish word in the entire English dictionary, and now you know how to say it like you've been doing it your whole life.
So how did this whole ritual even start? Well, it's a story that goes back thousands of years. We're talking about the earliest Finns digging pits into hillsides. They'd heat up these huge piles of rocks with a fire for hours, and that heat wasn't just for bathing, it was how they warmed their homes all winter long.
Those early smoke saunas, the saunas, they eventually evolved, of course. You know, first came the metal stove and a chimney, and then much later the electric heater we see all the time now. It made saunas way more accessible, but the fundamental idea, that has never, ever changed. Use intense heat to sweat, for your health and for community. So, fast forward to today, if you're looking into saunas, you're going to face this one key choice. And it all boils down to a really simple question. Do you want to heat the air around you, or do you want to heat your body directly? This is the fundamental difference between the two main types out there. Okay, let's break this down, because this is where it gets interesting. A traditional Finnish sauna gets crazy hot. We're talking up to 212 degrees Fahrenheit by heating the air in the room. You can then throw water on hot rocks to create that blast of steam. But an infrared sauna, totally different. It uses light waves to heat your body from the inside out. That means it runs at a much lower temperature, usually topping out around 150 degrees. So, two very different ways to get to the same goal, a really good sweat. So why do people get so hooked on this intense heat? Well, a lot of it comes from these really compelling stories of transformation. A few writers have documented doing a 30-day sauna challenge, and frankly, the benefits they talk about are pretty wild. I mean, listen to this. After just 1 month of daily sessions, people are reporting everything from way smoother, clearer skin, to actual reliefs from chronic pain, to sleeping deeper than they have in years. And on top of that, less stress and just this feeling of being refreshed and alive, kind of tingly. And this whole transformation, it's a journey, right? It doesn't all happen on day one. The first week is really just about getting used to the heat, but that post-sauna glow, that starts almost immediately. By week 2, you start noticing physical stuff, like your skin feeling plumper. By the end of the month, it's become this deep-seated ritual that leads to measurable things, like less muscle tension and better sleep scores on your fitness tracker. But you know, beyond all the physical stuff, the mental impact seems to be what really hooks people. Haley Folk called her sauna a sacred, soft, and heart-opening space. Think about that. It wasn't a chore, it was a mental health routine she actually looked forward to. A little sanctuary from all the noise of daily life. These personal stories, they are powerful. They make you want to just run out and find the nearest sauna, right? But this brings us to the most important question. Is all of this just a feeling, or is there some hard science to actually back it up? So let's pivot. Let's move away from the personal stories and get into the real analysis. What does the clinical evidence actually tell us? To answer that, we're going to turn to a huge systematic review published by the National Institutes of Health. And this wasn't just one little study. No, this was a deep dive that analyzed the results from 40 different clinical trials. We're talking nearly 4,000 participants. So yeah, this is our best look at the real science. So what's the verdict? Well, here it is. The review found strong evidence for some pretty major benefits. The link between frequent sauna use and a lower risk of fatal heart problems and even dementia is significant. The evidence for helping with pain from things like arthritis, that's looking really promising. But it also uncovered one notable, though temporary, side effect for male fertility. Let's zero in on where the science is the absolute strongest, your heart. The review confirmed it. Regular sauna sessions can actually lower your blood pressure and make your arteries more flexible. It's essentially a passive workout for your entire cardiovascular system. And if you want to see just how powerful this is, check out this chart. There was a massive, long-term study in Finland that followed over 2,300 men for 2 decades. The results were just staggering.
Men who used a sauna 4 to 7 times a week had a 63% lower risk of sudden cardiac death compared to guys who only went once a week. 63%. That is an absolutely massive difference.
But a balanced look means we have to talk about the potential downsides too. And the scientific review was very clear about one significant finding.
Okay, so one study found that when healthy men used a Finnish sauna just twice a week for 3 months, it significantly lowered their sperm count and motility. Now, the two most important words here are temporary and reversible. 6 months after the men stopped going to the sauna, everything went completely back to normal. So it's a real side effect for sure, but it seems to be entirely non-permanent.
So, we've got ancient tradition, we have these powerful personal stories, and we have some really strong science. Where does all that leave us today when we're thinking about our own wellness routines?
Well, the industry is always evolving, and the latest innovation actually tackles that choice between traditional and infrared head-on. It's called the hybrid sauna, and the whole point is to give you the best of both worlds. A hybrid sauna is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It has both a traditional rock heater for that intense, steamy, super hot experience, and it has infrared panels for that deep, penetrating warmth. You can use one or the other, or fire up both at the same time. It lets you totally customize your session for whatever you need that day, whether it's deep muscle recovery or just an intense, cleansing sweat. All right, so let's wrap this all up. The health benefits, especially for your heart, are absolutely backed by solid science. The experience itself can be a game changer for mental health and sleep. You've got choices: traditional heat, infrared heat, or a hybrid that does both. And yep, for men, there is that temporary fertility thing to keep in mind. At the end of the day, the best sauna is simply the one that fits your goals and the one you'll actually use.
It's a practice that's somehow both ancient and totally cutting edge, offering this unique mix of physical therapy and a mental escape. So in our endless search for wellness, could the simple act of sitting in a hot room be exactly what we've been looking for all along? Thanks for joining me to find out.